Over the past decade, I've built a team of multi-asset specialists, managing portfolios whose primary objective is to achieve a target risk level, whilst also seeking attractive returns for this risk. Central to our investment process is an active approach to allocating across a well-diversified range of global asset classes. Our experience tells us that active management significantly improves our ability to meet our risk targets. If I look back at the experiences which have been the most relevant and inspiring in shaping me as an individual, and ultimately in the way we express our active investment approach, I would credit, first of all, my father. Secondly, a professor who made a particularly strong impression on me, Erwin Friend. And finally, the knowledge I developed during my statistical training. These experiences have developed and strengthened my belief in the need for and benefits of active asset allocation. My father was a key influence. He developed my quantitative skills from an early age, sending me letters with mathematical proofs when I was in boarding school. As an academic economist, he had a lifelong interest in equity markets. We would read Barron's together and discuss what was happening, especially during the turbulent markets in the 1970s. A second experience that directed me towards active management was my interaction with Professor Erwin Friend, finance professor at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. It was during the 1970s, and the prior decade had seen the development of some of the most influential financial portfolio theories from the likes of Jack Traynor, William Sharpe, John Lintner, and Jan Mawson, who contributed to the capital asset pricing model, CAPM. When mentioning these names, you can see that I was studying during a time of exciting developments, which included not only the 60s, but also the 70s, when these different theories were actually born and first discussed. A particular feature of my experience with Professor Friend was that he did not only explore the pure academic angles, but also provided a more pragmatic way of looking at investments. This has clearly been one of the building blocks of inspiration when I think about the global balanced risk control strategy nowadays and the forward-looking approach we implement in our asset allocation process, tailoring our use of efficient frontier analysis to the real world. A final experience I believe it is worth mentioning has been my statistical training. This has actually led me to believe that we can utilize the well-understood statistical properties of volatility to target risk rather than expected return. Commonly, when researchers present an estimate, they put a confidence interval around it. What the GBAR team recognizes is that confidence intervals on expected returns are much wider than those focusing on risk. This is why we focus on risk rather than returns. We target a volatility range, which we monitor using confidence intervals, and based on that and our expectation of future event risks, we actively adjust our asset allocation on a dynamic basis. These different elements led us to develop the GBAR strategy and active investment process that targets portfolio risk. Our team is composed of different research analysts who focus on the identification of future event risks and their impact. We are ultimately seeking to offer our investors an active strategy based on strong academic foundations, but with a pragmatic approach to decision-making and implementation. The result is a process that focuses primarily on risk rather than returns, but which aims to deliver consistent returns for the risk taken through active asset allocation.
投资一定有风险，基金投资有赚有赔，申购前应详阅公开说明书。